Hello everyone. Some things begin like a dream, but every dream, at some point, turns into a nightmare. I'm still not sure if what I lived through was a dream or something far worse. But there's one thing I know for certain. If I hadn't heard that sound that night, I wouldn't be here to tell this story. Pushpin 4 more stories like this, unique, eerie, and completely original. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for free. Your support means a lot on my road to 500 subscribers. Now put on your headphones, lean back, and listen closely, because the silence you're about to hear wasn't natural. My friends wanted to see this old rock formation in the forest. A place that doesn't appear on any map. Locals call it Twin Stones Pass. Two massive stones, standing side by side in the heart of the woods. When we stood between them, everything fell quiet. The wind stopped. The birds fell silent. And like idiots, we set up camp right beside them. We didn't know how bad of an idea that was. Until nightfall. While setting up my tent, I left my backpack under a nearby tree. Later that night, I stepped out to grab some water. I flashed my light toward the tree trunk and saw something next to my bag. A single footprint. But it wasn't made by toes. It was made by claws. It started at exactly 2 a.m. At first, I heard hissing. Then a voice, murmuring. I pressed my ear against the tent wall. The sound outside whispered. The stones have shifted. The secret is free now. I tried waking the others, but they didn't move. They weren't sleeping. They were frozen. Ice cold and still. By morning, Milo still hadn't woken up. His face was pale. Eyes wide open. But no pupils. Just white. On my way back to the tent, shadows danced across the grass. Except one of them didn't move. It wasn't a shadow. It was a face sticking out of the ground. A face that looked just like mine. That night, I walked back to the stones. But they had changed positions. Now there was a narrow passage between them. A soft breath came from within. Then a whisper. One is gone. Two will stay. I wanted to run, but my feet were locked in place. From inside the stone gap, eyes were staring at me, but they weren't human. Next morning, Milo was gone. Not just him. His tent, his bag, every trace. Noah was walking through the forest like he was sleepwalking. He kept mumbling. The stones came back. They're calling me. As I tried to back away, I felt something slide into my pocket. I reached for it. A small stone, carved with strange markings. One sentence was scratched beneath them. You're next. I'm sharing this because someone needs to know. Those stones aren't just rocks. They're a doorway. And once someone opens it, it never closes again. I escaped that night. But the silence that followed hasn't left me since. So now I'll ask you one question. If you ever saw those stones, would you walk between them? Some places never make it on the map, because no one ever came back. This story carries the marks of a night I still can't explain. A night that made me talk to walls, stole my sleep, and shattered everything with just one sound, deep in the woods. Pushpin if you enjoyed dark, disturbing, and original horror stories like this. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for free. Your support is really important to help me reach 500 subscribers. Now put on your headphones and listen carefully, because the silence you're about to hear wasn't natural. My friends Travis, Eli, and I found a campsite that didn't exist on any map. It was only mentioned in an old blog post. Beyond the lake, in the drylands, no one ever returned. We laughed. Didn't come back? Sounded like our kind of place. But when we arrived, our map froze. GPS lost signal, and all of our phones died at the same time. The lake was silent. Too silent. Around midnight, a sound came from the center of the water. Not an animal. Not a human. It echoed. Not in my ears, but inside my head. Look under the tent. I didn't laugh. Because when I tried to, not a single sound left my throat. By morning, Eli was gone. No footprints. No sounds. No screams. I lifted his tent. Only dirt underneath. But then I saw something. Scratched into the earth, in big letters. Deep. And from beneath the ground, I heard a whisper. One is taken. The second is next. Travis said he checked the lake. Maybe Eli went swimming, he said. He stepped in. And then, the forest fell silent. No wind. No leaves. No birds. Travis took 3 steps in. The 4th never came. The water was still. But Travis was gone. I was alone now. The forest was watching me. Yeah, it sounds insane. But it was real. The trees bent in one direction. Their trunks twisted, like something had pulled them inward. And that night, the lake shimmered. But there was no moonlight. From the glowing water, a face emerged. My face. But it had no eyes. I had an old recorder in my backpack. I turned it on. Started talking into a blank tape. I spoke for hours. Cried. Prayed. Then, it cut off. I rewound it. Only 1 sentence had recorded. But it wasn't my voice. Now you look underneath. I tore down the tent. Looked underneath. This time, there was a hole. Pitch black. And from within, I heard my own voice. Your story ends here. Now join the others. I didn't run. There was nowhere left to run. The woods had swallowed me. And now, the only voice telling the story is mine. If some memories remain silent forever, maybe they were never meant to be spoken. What I experienced wasn't a camping trip. It was a warning. Nature doesn't forgive certain mistakes. Pushpin if you enjoy terrifying and original horror stories like this. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for free. Your support means a lot to help me reach 500 subscribers. Now lean back. Put on your headphones and listen carefully. Because in this story, it wasn't just me who disappeared. Time did too. My name is Logan. Last summer, I went camping with 3 friends, Jake, Marina, and Thomas, near the eastern border, in a long-forgotten national park. It wasn't marked on maps, but I found it in a forgotten blog post. The place where even time stands still. It sounded romantic at first. Silence, stars, campfire. But the first sign we saw by the road had already warned us. Don't check your watch in these woods. Time doesn't return here. That first night, our watches all stopped. Phones froze. Batteries were full, but screens went black. Mine froze at 11:47 p.m. So did Jake's. Marina's watch started ticking backwards. Thomas laughed. Then he said, "What if the night never ends?" It sounded like a joke, Until it didn't. Because after that night, morning never came. The sun never rose. Only a gray twilight remained. Birds had gone silent. The trees looked like they had moved. The trail we hiked earlier? Gone. Marina said, "Let's head back." But every path we took led us right back to the same clearing. The trees were turning, just like the clocks. Thomas went ahead alone to find a way out. We gave him 3 minutes. 4 minutes passed. Then 5. Then footsteps. But they weren't coming toward us. They were walking backward. Thomas returned, facing us, but his feet pointed the other way. He whispered, "The night is running backward." Strange clicking came from the tent. Marina peeked inside, shaking. "There's nothing under it," she said. "No ground. No light. Not even time." Jake looked too. And then he was pulled upward. Yes, upward. Time didn't care about gravity anymore. The fire no longer gave off heat. The trees were shivering. The sky had vanished. I tried to turn on my phone again. Only one thing appeared. 11:47 p.m. It never changed again. Time had been frozen on that exact moment. A darkness swallowed our tent. I heard a whisper. "If you want time back, you must offer yourself." Marina turned to me, but her eyes were watching something else. "Remember me," she said. "If you ever get out, don't fix the clock." And then I woke up. Or, I think I did. But my watch still reads 11:47 p.m. And no one from that forest ever spoke to me again. Now I'm here, recording this. But if you're hearing it, I'm no longer where you are. And maybe, while listening to this story, you'll notice time has stopped for you too. Sometimes nature doesn't call for peace. It calls to remind you no one ever came back. Pushpin for more of these eerie and original campfire horror stories. Don't forget to subscribe for free. Your support is crucial in helping me reach 500 subscribers. Now sit back, put on your headphones, and listen closely. Because the silence you're about to hear was never natural. It was watching. My name is Kyle. Along with 3 friends, Ellie, Brandon, and Nate, we planned a final camping trip to say goodbye to college. But we didn't want a normal place. We wanted something off-grid, unmapped, unknown. Nate's grandfather used to be a forest ranger. He told us about a place called Ash Grove. "Don't go there," he warned. "The forest might still be watching." We thought he meant it metaphorically. When we arrived at Ash Grove, everything felt unnaturally perfect. The sky was gray, yet it didn't rain. The trees looked black, but not burned. There were no footprints in the soil, as if no one had stepped there for years. But the lake was mesmerizing. The surface, glass-like. And in the middle, an old boat. Upside down. Rusty. None of us swam. But the lake was watching us. That night, Ellie woke up screaming. Her eyes were open, but she was still dreaming. "There was someone in the boat," she said. "They turned toward me, but had no head." Brandon tried to laugh it off. And then we heard a whistle from outside the tent. Thin, shrill, unfamiliar, and worst of all, it was answering something. The next morning, we went back to the lake. The upside-down boat was gone, but floating on the surface was a note. Just 3 words. "Why are you here?" Brandon snapped. "Someone's playing tricks," he growled. "Or do you think the lake writes notes?" At that moment, ripples spread across the water, as if the lake was weeping. That night, Nate stepped out, just to use the bathroom. He never came back. Only his boots remained, sunken in mud, and beside them, a second pair of footprints. But Nate had no shoes anymore, so that second set wasn't his. Ellie looked into her compact mirror. Her face was normal, but in the reflection, she saw someone breathing behind her, right over her shoulder. She threw the mirror down. It shattered, and something whispered, "Everything you look at looks back." Brandon tried to run through the forest, any direction, but no matter where he went, he always returned to the same lake. The trees had changed shape, the sky had turned void, and the lake wasn't empty anymore. Something was there, waiting, with no arms, but calling to us. I escaped. Somehow. I just found myself on the road. But ever since that night, I can't look at mirrors or clocks, because something still watches me. And Ellie? Brandon? I don't know. But last night, I found a paper in my mailbox. 1 sentence. "You're next." I was stuck in a place where even time stood still. That camp, it wasn't a place, it was a loop. And I'm still not sure, maybe I'm still there. Pushpin for more of these different and spine-chilling stories. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Your support is invaluable in helping me reach 500 subscribers. Now, put on your headphones and listen carefully. My name is Eric. 2 weeks ago, I went to an isolated campsite with 3 of my friends, Miles, Jenna, and Josh. There was no signal, not even for our phones. This place wasn't on the maps. Someone who passed through an old forest village had described the way. He only told us this: "If you don't forget the path, time won't forget you." When we entered the forest, the air changed instantly. It was as though the trees were breathing. Even the slightest rustle of a leaf echoed. But something strange happened. Our watches stopped. We all noticed. Josh checked his watch. 5:32 p.m. Jenna's 5:32 p.m. Miles's, and mine too. But the sun didn't set. It felt like we were stuck in an endless late afternoon. We set up our tents. We lit a fire. But when we went for a walk, something happened. We passed the same tree 3 times. The burn marks on it were too distinct. We tried turning back, but the path just restarted, and our footprints were always in front of us. It was like we'd passed through before. Jenna had brought a small diary with her. She wrote in it every night. But on the 3rd night, something caught her eye. She flipped the pages and said, "I've already written this down. The same words. The same date. The same feeling." We looked through the pages. And on the last one, this was written: "Only one will leave this loop. And that person will write it all over again." We all had the same dream. A man trapped inside a tree. He wasn't screaming, but his eyes were full. The next morning, we found a rusty nail beside our tents. Old and weathered. None of us had brought it. And then we noticed something carved into the tree trunk. "Don't forget me." When Josh woke up, he seemed different. His eyes, they looked strange. He was quiet. He kept staring off into the distance. Then he left. And he didn't come back. When we went looking for him, We found an old camping bag on the ground. Inside, there were childhood pictures of Josh. And the date on them was 1993. But Josh was born in 1998. Only Jenna and I were left. We stopped talking. Every word we spoke seemed to reset the loop. The trees began whispering. It was our voices, but they weren't us. Time had no meaning anymore. The stars didn't move. It felt like we were stuck in a place with no beginning or end. One morning, I woke up. There was no tent. No Jenna. The trees were gone. It was just an empty field. And in front of me, a small notebook. On the cover it read, "Start again. Now I'm home." But every night, I returned to that campsite in my dreams. And every morning, one more page of the notebook is missing.